What's up, YouTube? It's Anti-Juicer. I just wanted to make this reaction. This video was sent to me probably, 10, 15 times today. I haven't seen it. It's from Russel brand. Some people like him, some people don't. But it's about politicians and making money in the stock market, which I find to be pretty fascinating. My other channel, Trey's Trades, talks about the stock market quite a bit. My name's Trey, so I guess that's why it's called Trey's Trades. So I'm gonna watch this video and kind of give my thoughts in live time. I haven't seen it yet, so don't really know what to expect. Apparently, one of my buddies, Unusual Whales, is mentioned in this. So let's watch it and make some sort of opinion, I guess.
Congressman has claimed that sex orgies and drug parties are rife all over Washington and is therefore facing a huge backlash.
This is about politicians?
But why should we find it difficult to believe that there's saucy behaviour in Washington when we know what actually does go on? Hello there, you 5.4 million awakening wonders. We continue to convey to you as best we can the truth as we individually and collectively awaken. Today we're going to be discussing a very salacious, saucy story about drugs and sex and politics. Ugh, the last bit made me nearly feel sick. But what interests me mostly is that I suppose the implication is that there's a moral corruption at play. Because really, sex between consenting people. We're going to get into that story. Now let's see what these saucy buggers in Washington are doing with their time. Do we believe them or not? Does it matter? Do you trust politicians? Do you care what they do in their private lives? Let me know in the comments below and let's get into the news.
This morning, Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn.
Well, firstly, he's gorgeous. Doesn't look like a normal politician, does he? Like he's like a swimwear model.
Under fire from members in his own
he really doesn't look like a politician, does he? I don't know what the standard face of a politician is supposed to be, but when I think of a politician, I think of somebody who's like 80. They walk around with a cane and they talk very slowly and have some pretty strange mannerisms, like well, let me say, America is a pretty great country, and I say this because politicians who govern the country typically become millionaires. They make their money, and by the time they die, they pass that money on to the next. Sorry, I thought I was having a heart attack. The next generation of politicians.
Party, after presumably linking GOP lawmakers to sex parties and
Show
cocaine.
us the top of your
If
head,
he
bald
is
ass.
telling the truth about that, that's sort of amazing, isn't it? That
I'm
they're
not
having
balding.
sex parties. I mean, some of you that are more into the
Yo, Jib, thanks for the 5 gifted, bro. Stroke the curtain wall. Stroking my green screen. How does this make you feel? Does this make you feel sensual? All right.
have some
Let's continue.
pretty outlandish ideas about the things that happen behind closed doors and won't be surprised to hear.
Start Stewart
Maybe
Dawes.
he's
Choo-choo.
lying. That's even more mad. Yeah, I've got a lot of sex parties. I'm always being invited to them. Do you? No. North Carolina Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn has issued a statement following his controversial comments in which he claimed that he's been invited to an orgy. Come over here. I was invited to an orgy the other day. Plenty of people are pretty attracted to me. Did they? No. And he's seen anti-drug advocates do cocaine. I suppose what's behind an accusation like that is the idea of hypocrisy. Now, obviously, we don't know if there are sex and drug parties all over Washington, but,
I would believe it.
there are. There seem to be everywhere in the world.
Listen, all right? Listen. All that I'm trying to do is listen to a video about politician sex parties, and you guys want to distract me with this music. Clear.
That sort of stuff
Thanks
seems to
for
go on.
changing your name. Now I can scam people on WhatsApp. Haha, bald nerd.
Okay, whatever. Let's listen.
What's more interesting, to me at least, is the idea that lawmakers
Thanks
and
for the
people
follow,
that take
Cranky.
a moral stance on that kind of behaviour actually engage in that behaviour. And what's even more interesting is that there are things that are explicitly and overtly understood and known by us that, in my opinion, are much worse than what people do with their own bodies for pleasure. An interesting comparison from our country, the UK, where I live, is that All the while during lockdown, while people were confined to their homes under pain of death and fear of shame, the Conservative Party that run our country, the equivalent, I suppose, of your Republican Party, they were having parties almost literally every day. The only thing that mitigates it is their parties were really shit and involved cheese and tinsel and wearing Santa Claus hats. Hey man, let's go, we're having a party. So, yeah, maybe they are doing that in Washington. I just hope the parties are a bit cooler.
He kind of has a point. I mean, honestly, as long as everybody is of age at these grand scale politician sex parties, I don't really care if politicians want to have sex parties. The only things that I care about is that everyone there is of legal age and that it's not being fueled by taxpayer money. Do I believe that both of those statements happen to be true? Are these parties not fueled by taxpayer money and is everybody there of legal age? I feel like there's gray area. That's one of those things that I think we kind of have to accept that we'll never know. I don't know if you give them the benefit of the doubt or you don't. I think that's just one of those things that you just never know.
Like, well, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me?
We are having a sexual get-together at one of our homes.
That guy's fresh. He's a green bean. You can tell he's
not one of them older guys. Listen, all right? These sex parties, what we do is we hope one of us has a heart attack. Well, we happen to be putting the hot dog in the bun. All right, you're too young, you whippersnapper. One day, when you're 95, maybe 96, you'll get it. But not quite yet.
RSVP. And use what you like as ink.
And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Yeah. Or the fact that, there's some of the people that are leading on the movement to try and remove, addiction in our country. And then you watch them do, a key bump of cocaine right in front of you.
He's too young to be in politics anyway. How old is he? That's what I'm worried about. No wonder they can't resist him. He's gorgeous.
Cawthorn is the youngest member of Congress,
what's up,
seen
man?
as a rising star in the party. A loyal Trump supporter who spoke at that rally on January 6th.
My friends, I will tell you right now that there's a new Republican Party rise.
I would have never guessed he was in a wheelchair. Props to him, man. That's good shit.
And it's very sexy.
But now Republicans say...
An interesting side note is that microphone coming out of his head makes him look like a little ant.
But now Republicans say he has crossed the line.
He kind of has a
I think
point.
you crossed the line.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy summoned Cawthorn to his office to tell him his comments were unacceptable.
Nah, that's not what happened. What really happened is very simply put. He came in and he said, listen, man, if we invite you to a sex party, you got to keep it between us.
Of course, they approached him now that Sex Island is gone.
300 has a valid point. I mean, I don't even have to really say anything more, do I?
Comments were unacceptable. My God, are you wearing a new perfume? Listen, would you like a quick... Oh, I can't help myself. How can I stay mad at you?
He's lost my trust. He's going to turn it back. He's got a lot of members very upset.
You think so, too, if you accuse people of having orgies and cocaine parties.
Yeah, dude, Gen X Lee. The old guy was like, listen, man, you're not supposed to tell people we're throwing fucking sex parties with taxpayer money. Huh? What do you think you're doing? Now they're going to start asking questions. Shh, shut the fuck up, bro. What are you doing?
But again, all of us are drawn to these kind of salacious sex and drug stories, but really what we should be interested in is the behaviour of the powerful and the way that Congress and its inhabitants continually operate and the financial impropriety that defines that institution.
McCarthy telling reporters Cawthorn had no evidence and did not tell the truth.
He's got no evidence. Few. And anyway, aside from that, he did not tell the truth. And mainly, though, he hasn't got any evidence.
Sources say Cawthorn was asked to publicly apologize. Overnight, he claims his comments were taken out of context.
When I said that there are orgies and sex parties, I meant all over the world and in films I've seen, like Oliver Stone's film, The Doors, and Wolf of Wall Street.
Congressman Nelson, what did you make of those comments?
Well... The cliche that politicians are cigar-smoking fat cats sickens me. I'm holding this for a friend. Madison! How can I stay mad at you?
Irresponsible. Irresponsible.
Irresponsible. That's ruining all the sex parties. And also, his accusation that we're in cahoots with the tobacco lobby pisses me off too. Right, guys?
But all of it has left his Republican colleagues on Capitol Hill frustrated.
I just think it puts us in bad light.
Yeah, it does. That's not very nice.
I mean, I feel like I feel like politicians are always kind of in a bad light. I don't know what that guy's talking about. That's kind of a weak argument.
Guys, don't say that about our sex parties. We're trying our hardest to keep them secret.
What he's saying can't possibly be true.
Not for you, mate. They're not inviting you.
What he's saying can't possibly be true.
If there are sex parties, I'd certainly know about it.
Yeah, that guy
What he's saying can't possibly.
This guy just wasn't invited. yo. I don't know who this dude is, but this can't be true. I never heard about it. In reality, dude. In reality, he just never invited. That's what it is.
Be true.
If there are sex parties, I'd certainly know about it. You think they want to miss this piece of ass?
Yeah.
You think they want to miss this? Huh?
Cawthorn still has one big name in his corner, Donald Trump. The former president announced Cawthorn will be a special guest at his rally in North Carolina.
Now, look, that's all a frivolous piece of fun, and we all enjoyed having a laugh about that. But these are some things that are literally, definitely, and actually, I believe, legally happening in Congress right now. So this is not an accusation of impropriety. This is a list of systemic problems. Check it out. Hundreds of millions of dollars were exchanged on the stock market by elected officials in 2021 alone.
In case you don't know who this is, I feel like most people came from Trace Trades or stock market stuff. This is Unusual Whales. He's got a Twitter, and his job and what he does is he does two main things. He reports news, and he offers options flow to help assist you in your trading if you are interested in that sort of thing. Russel Brand referencing Unusual Whales is actually pretty sick, because I've watched Unusual Whales kind of come from the ground up. So we're gonna start from there.
An accusation of impropriety. This is a list of systemic problems. Check it out. Hundreds of millions of dollars were exchanged on the stock market by elected officials in 2021 alone. Nothing else was going on in 2021 though. It's not like the whole world was banged up in their houses, quivering shipwrecks, terrified to move. In just equities, Congress bought and sold nearly $290 million throughout the year. Do you want that happening? Do you want elected officials trading? Do you not think that that might mean that regulation and legislation gets biased in the favor of those kind of interests? In 2021, only 3 hedge funds beat the market. But in Congress, 35 politicians did even better. Hedge funds that are set up entirely for investment cannot perform at the rate of Congress people. That, in my opinion, seems like
that statistic is actually pretty nutty. That tells me that there's two sort of possibilities here. Number one, the majority of hedge funds suck at their job. That's actually plausible. I mean, I would believe it. What was the data that this came out about Melvin Capital? They had a really shitty Q1, just did dog shit, were not good, that really just couldn't put it together. That's a possibility. The other possibility is that Congress just has access to information that most hedge funds don't. I think that's also a pretty solid possibility. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe hedge funds just aren't as smart as people think they are. Either that or the Congress people they just spent their entire lives preparing for this exact sort of thing. I mean, actually, you know what? I take everything back. I think congressmen are just really good traders, man. They're really good at reading charts and they're really good at analyzing news. There's just no in between.
Beat the market. But in Congress, 35 politicians did even better. Hedge funds that are set up entirely for investment cannot perform at the rate of Congress people. That, in my opinion, seems like evidence of some kind of corruption, collaboration, and I don't want to use insider trading, that's an actual legal term. But it seems like they know stuff that the best hedge funds in the world don't
Nancy
know.
Pelosi is just a
Big legislative events such as the infrastructure bill getting passed by the Senate were often preceded by politicians trading in the sectors affected, which points to insider knowledge, doesn't it? Some politicians held securities in the sectors they vocally expressed support for, such as senators holding cryptocurrencies.
Just a coincidence. Nah, that's not. I don't think it's a big deal. Some politicians held securities in the sectors they vocally expressed support for, such as senators holding cryptocurrencies while drafting crypto regulations. No biggie. I think that's fine. You know, sometimes I say I like chocolate when I go buy chocolate. Politicians are good people, all right? I don't want you going slamming Nancy Pelosi, my God, all right? She's a goddess. If you don't like Nancy Pelosi, it's because you just don't like the milk from Aphrodite's nipples.
While drafting crypto regulations. I, for example, would like to see cigar companies promoted to the forefront. Madison! How can I stay mad at you? As the pandemic raged, at least 75 lawmakers bought and sold stock in companies that make COVID-19 vaccines, treatments, and tests at a historic...
Nah, coincidence again. Look, as the pandemic raged, at least 75 lawmakers bought and sold stocks in companies that made COVID-19 vaccines, treatments, and tests. Listen, if you think that COVID companies were pumping dumps, wrong. All right, they're legitimate companies. They're just in a downtrend right now. Okay. You think COVID companies are just trying to peddle their stuff? They're just trying to push their narrative so they can continue to get you guys booster shots? Narrative. It's false. It doesn't make sense. You think politicians are trying to abuse the system? You got to open your eyelids, man. I think the problem is you took some Billy Button lint and you put it in your fucking pupil. You're looking through cloudy vision. All right, these guys are good. They're good people. Nah, they're good people. All right, trust me. Trust me, bro. All right, this is the best kind of research I can provide you. Trust me, bro. All right, these guys. I know a guy who knows a politician.
Treatments and tests at a historic time during an unprecedented crisis that brought about much division, debate, censorship, discombobulation, doubt, and debate.
Sorry, I'm still laughing at that.
Politicians were investing in companies that make COVID-19 vaccines, treatments, and tests. Do you want that? I'd rather they had orgies. I'll say, oh, well, as long as everyone's consenting, crack on, enjoy yourself.
Can you even disagree with that, chat? I think I would rather politicians just had big sex parties with their old wrinkly fucking leather seats, you know? Take out your Toyota Corolla. Well, I guess they drive nicer than a Toyota Corolla. Maybe like I don't know, what would they drive? Like a Lincoln? Take out your Lincoln. Get that nice, saggy fucking lizard skin, that leather seat right on top of the lizard skin. You mash some good old fucking aged sausage on some aged turkey. That's some much better than insider trading. I agree.
Go crazy. But I don't want them mandating certain procedures and then profiting from it, do you? 18 senators or their households own stock in big tech companies valued at a minimum of $9.9 million and a maximum of $24.6 million.
I live in Florida. I'm used to old people's sex orgies. I'd rather they live stream said orgies than participated in insider trading conflict of interest holdings. It'd actually be kind of I wonder how much that would change culture in America if there was just live streamed old people sex orgies.
$6 million, which is a problem if you're regulating those companies. 51 members of Congress and their spouses own up to $5.8 million worth of defense contractor stocks, which is a problem if you're advocating publicly for military action. Prior to the invasion of Ukraine, members of Congress purchased defense and energy stocks, which makes it look like they're using their position not for what's best for America or Ukraine, as they publicly say, but what's best for them as individuals financially. Many are on committees privy to private information, including defense and energy, so surely you shouldn't be allowed to invest in those companies. These are systemic problems that could be changed like that, overnight with a stroke of a pen. They're not allowed to invest, they're not allowed to profit from it. Overnight, you would get a more reliable government. I'm not saying that it's wrong to have a stock exchange or whatever, that's a more complicated and sort of deeper conversation. What I'm saying is that people in those positions shouldn't benefit from it because their focus is meant to be benefiting the ordinary people of America or whatever company. Easy mistake.
I mean, I think the first mistake of anybody who believes otherwise would simply be believing that politicians are here to help the general public. I think there's two sort of arguments you can have here. One of them is politicians are here to help you, or politicians are here to help themselves. I guess the answer to that question is one for you to make, but that's the question. And if they're there to help you, well, then you look at things in that lens. And if they're there to help themselves, then you look at it in that lens, I guess. I don't know.
Mistake to make. Country they're supposed to be governing. The typical US Congress member is 12 times richer than the typical American household. Would you rather have juries, assemblies elected from ordinary families, from ordinary Americans? Wouldn't that be fairer? Wouldn't that be better? Tell me in the comments below. More than half of those in Congress are millionaires. Nothing.
Nah, these guys are just good with money. All right, don't even try to make this what it's not. Don't even try. No, listen. All right, politicians. They live on bare bones minimums. They drive around Toyota Corollas. You don't think they think they're eating ramen. They're not. All right. They're not eating ramen. They're eating saltine crackers and ketchup packets. All right. This is what it takes to be the best. This is what it takes to be a millionaire. Do you think these guys buy coffee? Fuck no. Politicians never drink coffee. These guys just know the things that are preached every day on on news. They practice what they they practice they practice what they preach, all right? That's
nothing wrong with making a few quid, you could argue. But do you want Congress peopled by one demographic that have one set of cohesive, collaborative interests? At least 78 members of the House disclosed that their spouses own corporate securities. And that's before we get into the dependent child. Dependent child. 37 members of Congress failed to properly report their financial trades. Did you report your financial trade? Yes, I did. Did you do it properly? Yes, I did. To Madison at an orgy. But the pages are all stuck together. Madison! How can I stay mad at you? So, of course, what we've got there is a fantastic, funny story about salaciousness. Drugs are, of course, illegal. No one would ever endorse drugs. I certainly wouldn't. Orgies, I guess that's a moral, personal decision for people that are involved in that kind of world. But neither of those things, in my opinion, are as important as systemic corruption. And if it's not corruption, let's call it what it really is, unaddressed crime, institutionalized crime, crime that is allowed because it's not illegal by the letter of the law, but by the spirit of the law. Is this how you want your country run? Can you not see a connection between the lives you're living, the suffering you're enduring, the social breakdown that you're witnessing, and having corrupt
that's the wheelchair
leaders
guy? All right. Now that's pretty funny. I thought he was just saying, like, Madison, as in that had nothing to do with anything. D. Blackett says, yeah, the guy in the wheelchair is Madison. See, I didn't know that. Now this is funny. Madison, I can't stay mad I can't stay.
Putting in the ways that we've just described in that video. Maybe it doesn't bother you. Let me know in the comments below, because I think this is a bipartisan issue. This is an institutional problem. Forget left, forget right. Let's get down the middle, bringing about systems, cultures, nations, and a world that we can all participate in. I'm not talking about a centralized technocratic democracy. I am 100% against that. Localized democracy for the people, by the people, like it says in your constitution. That's just what I think, though, and what the Constitution says. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at this one or this.
Yeah, final thoughts. Politician insider trading, politician sex parties. I think that my final words and message would apply to both of these situations. What it is, if you're not in those sort of seats, if you're not in a politician's seat, and you're not fortunate enough to get to have a big sex orgy with old politicians, you're not in the situation to be able to make baller-ass trades because you're a genius. The old message rings clear. It's the old, I think it was Sun Tzu who once said this: get fucked, kid. Just get fucked. That's all that there is to say, all right? You're not in that club. You're not that special. And this is from Russel Brand. You were right. I think the moral of the story is get fucked, kid. I stream on Twitch every day. Anti-Juicer. It's here. It's also in the description box. Check it out. Catch it. Peace.